not a great window for Arsenal at all, and it does worry me. It does worry me because let's say if Havertz, as much as he is criticised for missing chances, if he is to get injured between now and the end of the season, who do we have to replace him? Yep, I unfortunately predicted the future. It seems like Havertz seems to be out for the rest of the season, according to all of the reports that have just come out. The reports and the sources that this information is coming from is pretty trusted. So it is fair to say that Kai Havertz will not be in the Arsenal team for the foreseeable future and potentially for the rest of the season. First thing to make of this, you would have seen I put the clip of me talking about this exact scenario 6 days ago when it was deadline day and we signed absolutely nobody. I hate to be the person that almost jinxed it, but it seems like I have. Yeah, now it is fair to say that we are even more screwed than we were earlier. Of course, we had Martinelli get injured very recently, Jesus injured. Saka, of course, he's been out for ages. Our front three for the rest of the season is, unless, of course, Saka makes a return, but honestly, by that point, I don't think there's any point in even risking rushing him back into the team. But yeah, our front three, what looks like to be anyway, for the rest of the season, will be Trossard on the left, Ethan Nwaneri on the right, and Sterling up front. This, oh dear, just saying that out loud is, it just makes me feel like we're like a mid-table to relegation side. This attack is genuinely one of the worst, I think, that we could put out. Don't get me wrong, Trossard, he's been an absolutely great servant for this club since we signed him. For the money that we paid, especially, like Trossard has been great. However, we do know he can be a little bit inconsistent. He can come out with great games, and to be fair to him, recently he's been very good, but he can have drops in form, and yeah, whether he is starting level winger for us, that's up for debate already. Now, of course, we have no choice, and so, I mean, yeah, going into the season, it was always going to be either him or Martinelli anyway. So I guess on the left, it's not that bad. However, then we go over to the right wing. Ethan Nwaneri, I mean, he's been excellent, right? There's no denying that. However, we are relying on a 17-year-old to be our first choice right winger for Arsenal Football Club, not only for the Premier League, but also for what will inevitably also be the Champions League. Putting that type of pressure on a kid, because realistically he's still a kid, is just not good enough from the club. And yeah, we'll get onto something I want to say in a second, but it's just, yeah, how can we expect to rely on a 17-year-old for the end of the season when, if you think about it, we are still in a title race? As much as you want to say that Liverpool should win the league this season, it's far from done, right? We are still in a title race. Liverpool play Everton away tomorrow, tonight. Liverpool play Everton tonight. So there is a chance that they drop points, in which case it could still be 6. But yeah, going into these last run of games with Trossard on the left, Nwaneri on the right, but this is the biggest issue, our striker. Is it going to be Sterling? Is Raheem Sterling, who has not been good enough by any means since signing for the club at the end of the window in summer, on the wing in his natural position? Now, what it looks like is we're going to have to ask him to be our number 9. Someone, he's not got a single goal involvement yet. He's missed a penalty, yet we need him to lead the line, to get the goals for us, be our main focal point, to help win us games. Yeah, of course, we've got Nathan Butler-Oyedeji, who I also briefly spoke about in that video, that transfer market video, who said, imagine we have to rely on him. That might actually be the option, because would you want to put Sterling up front, or would you want someone, fine, he's what? I think he's, to be fair to him, he's not even that young. I know he's an academy player, but I'm pretty sure he's around 20 years old now. So he's been playing as a striker for a while, right? Do you play him? But then we don't know anything about his quality in the first team. But even then, regardless, whoever you play, right, it's just not good enough. It is not good enough. And then you look at our bench. Let's say the game is not going our way. Let's say our next game is Leicester away. Let's say it's 1-1 or 0-0 going into like the 70th minute. We need to go for the win, right? Who do we have to bring off the bench? We've got no one. No one whatsoever. No attacking players. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Not a single player from our bench, apart from us having to bring in kids from the academy, which is what we're probably going to have to do. We've got absolutely no one there. And then we've got the likes of Reece Nelson out on loan at Fulham. Whether we recall him or not, I'm not sure if he's still injured now. He might be. I know he got injured earlier. That looks like something we'll have to do, because it will not be sustainable at all. We will crash out of the Champions League. We will definitely not win the league without any attacking options off the bench. I don't care how good your front three is, right? Even if you're MSN or someone, right? Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but the best front three in the league, let's say, for example, even if you look at Liverpool teams in the past, right, when they won the league and the Champions League with Firmino, Mane, and Salah, they had options off the bench to bring on when it wasn't going their way. So even the best of attacks need options to change it up, to change the game. And the fact that we don't even have that, let alone our starting attack, is terrible. It just doesn't look great. Maybe terrible is an exaggeration. Terrible might be an exaggeration, but without a recognised number 9, it is far from good enough. And all of this stems back to the fact that we have not brought in an attacking player that we so desperately and clearly needed even before the window opened. Before the January window opened, when Saka got injured, it was like, right, even before he got injured, we needed an attacking player. He got injured, it was like, right, we definitely need to bring in one now. Then Jesus gets injured. Our only one of our only 2 recognized strikers at the club, he gets injured, right? It's like we need to sign. It's not even negotiable at this point. We have to sign someone in January. We don't. Martinelli gets injured after the window shuts. Now Havertz is out, and we have dug ourselves into the deepest of holes, and we're in big trouble. We are in big trouble. Is it fair to say that the title is out of reach? If I was to put money on it and take my bias completely out of it, it is very difficult, I think, is the right choice of words right now, to see us competing for the title with Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, they also just got knocked out of the the FA Cup. So that's one less competition for them to worry about. So, of course, they're in the Champions League like us, the Premier League, and they've also got the Carabao Cup, which is going to end in a couple of weeks. So they've got the same amount of fixture congestion as us, with a much better squad depth. Plenty more attacking options. It just does not look good for Arsenal at the minute, and that all stems back to the fact that we did not spend any money in January on anyone. Not even bringing in anyone on loan or anything at all. It's just honestly unacceptable. And you can't say there weren't options, because there were. There were plenty of options. You can see Villa have signed players, City have signed players, West Ham even brought in Ferguson on loan. Like, we could have easily done that deal. We could have easily brought in Evan Ferguson on loan. You're telling me he would have said no to Arsenal but yes to West Ham. And of course, say what you want about him. We don't know yet if he's a great player, but at the end of the day, he's a number 9. He's a striker, and you have to bolster up the squad. Football is not 11 versus 11. Maybe for 60 minutes of the game it is. Over the course of a whole season, you have to rely on your squad. You have to have depth. You have to have players that can play in different positions, especially if you want to achieve and win things. Otherwise, you can forget about it. It just won't happen. Yeah, with Havertz being out now, it does not fill me with any hope, and it's a disaster really. Our season, we have been unlucky of injuries. That is the truth, and I know, of course, every team has had their fair share of injuries, but it is fair to say we've suffered more than anyone else in the Premier League this season, in the top four anyway. Let's say, put it that way. But yeah, I just don't know what will come next. Does Sterling play up? I've seen people talking about Mourinho playing up front, similar to the way Fellaini played for United up top. Will Nathan Butler or Deji or he start? Will it be Sterling down the middle? We don't know. But it does not look good. Will we have to play with a false nine, maybe as Odegaard up there, and then I don't know, put someone else extra in midfield? That is for the manager to decide now. And yeah, whether it was Mikel himself not making clear targets for the board, or if it was just the board, we don't know that, of course. So it's hard to put the blame on anyone. But what you can definitely do is put blame on the board to take some sort of responsibility, because they've not brought in a single player, and that is what is going to cost us now, unfortunately. As an Arsenal fan, I want to say that we still have a chance of winning stuff this season, but that's just from a fan's perspective. If, like I say, if I was to put money on it, I don't think that, I just don't see us winning anything this season now. And I wanted to talk about another fixture also. We still have to play Chelsea this season, okay? When we play Chelsea, Sterling, of course, is on loan from them. Sterling won't even be available for that game. So, what do we even do there? Like, yeah, it's just ridiculous and unrealistically unacceptable for a team that we've come so close in the last couple of years to winning something. We needed an attacking player in the summer. We needed them in the summer, and now we've got to winter with the injuries. We didn't sign anyone there. I feel like it just shows a lack of ambition from our board at the moment. Because we have brought in players over the past, but when it really comes down to it, and we can talk about the bid for Ollie Watkins, right? Let's be honest, that was never going to happen. That was the board trying to show that, look, we want to do something. It's complete nonsense. John Duran was on his way to Al Nassr or wherever he is in Saudi now. Villa were never going to sell Ollie Watkins along with John Duran, and when that bid came in for Duran, it was clear he was the one that was going to go. That is when it seemed that we made the move for Watkins, and of course that was never going to happen. Villa are not going to sell both of their strikers. It just shows the incompetency and the lack of ambition. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. And now, yeah, like I say, we could be in deep, deep trouble. But let me know what you guys think. Does Arsenal still have a chance of winning anything this season? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is all I've got for today. So I'll see you for the next one.